Hey guys, it's Jen. Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be testing out some of the new products that I picked up in recent Sunday hauls and doing a wear test so we can see how they perform. And I have a new foundation from Doll 10. I have some new First Aid Beauty primers, a new Essence palette. Actually, a few of the things I didn't even show in Sunday hauls. I just got them very recently. So I just thought I would put them all to the test today and do a full face for you guys. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. So first up, I'm going to be testing out two new primers. These are from First Aid Beauty and they sent them to me last week. And this one is the Pores Be Gone Matte Primer with Fig Extract. This is an oil-free primer and this one is exclusive to Sephora. It's $28. And then this one is the Ultra Repair Hyaluronic Hydrating Primer. This one is also $28 but exclusive to Ulta. So you can't get these two in the same spot, unfortunately, unless you go to the First Aid Beauty website, which has both of them. So first up, I thought that I would put this Pores Be Gone Matte Primer just in the center of my face right here where I have pores and a little bit above my lip. And actually what I decided to do is just do primer on one half of my face because the foundation that I'm testing out, I kind of want to see how it wears with and without primer. So I went ahead and just applied this one to the right side of my face, just concentrating on my cheek area as well as above my upper lip. And when I first showed this in my Sunday haul, I pretty much watched my pores on my hand completely disappear. I was super impressed with the results of this, so I could not wait to try it on my face. It looks like a really thick lotion going on the skin. It feels really hydrating for a matte primer, which I was surprised about. It really doesn't dry out my skin any more than it already is, which is really, really nice. It's also supposed to contain salicylic acid to help improve the skin's texture and minimize the appearance of your pores over time. And then it's also supposed to have optical brighteners to give a little bit of a soft focus effect. So when I applied this to my face, I was a little bit disappointed to notice, and I'll put up pictures side by side on the screen so you can see that it really didn't blur the pores on my face like it did on my hand. And I'm not exactly sure why. I don't know if the pores on my face are maybe just a little larger and harder to blur, but I really did not get the same effect with this on my face as I did with my hand the other day. So I was a little bit disappointed with that. I was hoping it was just going to completely blur them and make them disappear, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. And then I applied the Ultra Repair Hyaluronic Hydrating Primer to my forehead area, which is a little bit smoother and doesn't have that rough bumpy texture. I also applied this to my chin and just along the side of my face. And this contains hyaluronic acid, which is supposed to help draw water to your skin and help it to look more smooth and plump. It also has colloidal oatmeal to help soothe your skin, and then also the light reflecting properties to help add a little bit of a glow to your skin as well. And this one feels just like the matte one in terms of formula. It has that really thick, lotiony feel. I also want to mention that both of these have a pretty strong cucumber fragrance to them, so I personally liked it, but if you're sensitive to fragrances, it's just something to keep in mind because you can smell it a lot as you're applying this, although I didn't really notice it much afterwards. And as for hydration, I did feel like this one was really hydrating on my skin, but I felt like this one was too, even though this one is supposed to be kind of oil controlling and a matte primer. I feel like they're both pretty hydrating on my skin. I didn't, like I said, notice any dryness or tightness at all after applying these. I felt like my skin looked and felt really soft and smooth. So far so good. I like the way both of these applied, but I didn't really notice too much of a difference in terms of what they did for my skin because this one really didn't minimize my pores that much. So I guess we'll just have to see how good they are at keeping my makeup on. And then for foundation, I'm applying the new Doll 10 Doll Skin Anti-Stress Skin Perfector, and I got this last week also. And this I was super excited about. This one is supposed to be skincare and foundation in one, kind of like a CC cream, I would say, and that's what the texture of this reminds me of for sure. This one claims to be anti-stress, full coverage skin treatment with 10 ingredients that work to strengthen your skin's defenses. So it has turmeric extract, cucumber extract, licorice root, aloe vera, green tea, chamomile, magnesium, vitamin C, bioskin, and lavender flower extract. So I have this in the shade Light, which is a little bit more yellow toned. As I mentioned in my Sunday haul, I have been wearing more yellow toned foundations, which kind of sounds counterintuitive because we're always taught to just grab the foundation shade that perfectly matches our skin. But I have a lot of pink and redness in my skin naturally, so I find that applying more of a yellow tone foundation or a neutral helps to cancel out that redness, and I really don't want to add any more pink into my skin. So I've been trying to stay away from more pink tone foundations, and I do feel like my skin looks a lot better when I go with something more this color. So I actually don't mind that this doesn't match my skin perfectly because I do think it evens everything out really nicely. And I also do think that it matches my neck as well because I feel like more of the redness is in my face versus down here, you don't really notice it. So I went ahead and applied this with the number 9 brush that they sent over with it, and they actually are giving this brush away for free on the website. With a purchase of this, you have to use a code, which I'll put on the screen. But if you don't want the brush, I also have a code for Doll10 to save 15%. So if you'd rather just save the 15% on the foundation and skip the brush, you could also use my code as well. So I thought that this foundation applied really, really nicely. It goes on super smooth, and it does feel very much like a CC cream or a tinted moisturizer, but it has a lot more coverage. And in that way, it does remind me a little of the IT Cosmetics CC Plus, except this one is a lot lighter weight than the CC cream. That one can tend to get really heavy and really thick, and this one, I loved how lightweight it was. It doesn't even look like I'm wearing makeup, yet it has amazing coverage. So I was really super impressed with this, and I'll go ahead and show you a photo in natural lighting so that you can see how nicely it lays on my skin. There's no shimmer or glitter in the formula, and so far it's not sinking into fine lines. It just looks really smooth and has a nice skin-like finish. So very, very impressed with this one so far, but we're gonna have to see how it wears throughout the day. And I also did not apply concealer because I felt like this pretty much covered up what I needed it to under my eyes and around my nose. And then I also just didn't want to cover up any of the areas with concealer. I just wanted to test this out on its own. So we'll see a little bit later when I do a check-in how it's wearing. And then on my cheeks, I'm wearing the new Revlon Cheek Flushing Tint in the shade 001. I got this at Walmart last week, and this reminds me so much of those old school gel blushes from the 80s. It's one of those formulas that you have to dot on your cheeks and then immediately blend it, or it's gonna just dry right there into a weird sort of clump. So you do have to work really quickly, but I do find that these look really natural on the skin, which I love. They look like you're blushing from within instead of a powder sitting on top. And when I tested these in my Sunday haul, I felt that they were really, really sheer and they didn't show up much on my arm. But as I was applying them to my face, just one coat actually showed up really nicely and looks really good. So I was really happy to see that I don't have to build this one up too much. If you have a deeper skin tone than me, you might want to do that, but they also did carry a few darker shades as well. So I actually think this one is perfect for my skin tone or anybody that would even be lighter than I am. So I'm hoping that this will stick around throughout the day, and we'll see later on in the check-in. And then for eyes, I'm wearing the new Essence Eye Flirt Party Look eyeshadow palette. This one has 24 shades. I think they're really beautiful. This one is a little bit more cool toned overall, so I was excited to create a cool tone look with it. So I'll go ahead and just show you how I got the look really quick. First up, I used the shade Kiss Kiss, which is a matte pinky lavender color. It's really, really beautiful, and I felt that this shade applied easily and blended out really nicely in my crease, so that one was super easy to work with. And then I grabbed the shade While Dancing, which is just a lighter lavender, and I used that one to blend the outer edges of that first shade a little bit, just because it was a little bit deeper than I was intending it to be. So I just really wanted to sheer out the edges with a lighter shade. And then on my lid, I applied the shade All the Time, which is sort of like a lavender gray metallic with a duochrome kind of blue shift to it. It's a really interesting color, and I thought it was beautiful, but unfortunately, like a lot of the shimmers in this palette, it's super chunky and crumbly, and I really couldn't apply it to my eyes with a brush or my finger without it falling all over the place. So I ended up applying it wet, and that did a little bit of a better job. But unfortunately, I just had issues with this one really sticking to my eye and building up the intensity that I wanted. I kept building it, and it just really didn't do too much. So not a fan of the shimmers in this palette at all. And then last but not least, I applied the shade Too Much, which is a really deep, cool tone brown. And this one I also felt was very difficult to work with. I applied it to the outer third of my eye with a flat brush, and it applied okay, but then when I went to blend it, it just kept blending away and getting patchy. And I had similar issues with the deeper matte shades in the Anastasia Riviera palette that I reviewed the other day. But that one I was able to add a little bit more and build it up, and it was fine. But this one I just kept adding and blending and adding and blending, and every time I blended, it was like I never added any more. It looked exactly the same. It was really faded, really muted, and wasn't building up the color easily. But let me go ahead and just put up some swatches so that you can see all the colors laid out side by side. And it's a shame because I think it could have been a really pretty palette, but as you can see from the swatches, they applied really chalky and patchy, and then there were a couple of shimmer shades that were a little more buttery and felt like they would hold together pretty well, but most of the shimmers felt just like the one that I tried to apply to my eyelid, which was chunky and glittery with a lot of fallout and kind of crumbly texture. So Unfortunately, I wasn't too impressed with this palette, and I was really disappointed because I think it's beautiful and it's really affordable as well, but I just think there are so many more affordable palettes out there from like BH Cosmetics or ColourPop at this price point where you really don't have to struggle to make the shades work. So I probably would not recommend this to you guys just because it's kind of difficult to work with. I was able to create an eye look with it, but I'm not super happy with the way that it came out, and I just felt like it was a struggle just to get some of these shades to work. And then next up, I got this new mascara from Pixie Beauty, and this one is called Lash Lift 188. I actually don't know if this is new or if I just saw this for the first time at Target, but this one is actually two mascaras in one. So first you have this larger brush here, which has those plastic bristles, and this one really builds a lot of length and volume when you use it. I really did like the formula of this one, and I didn't think it was super clumpy. It is more of a wet formula, so you have to comb it out a little bit, but that's sort of where the second brush comes in. Then on the top here, you unscrew this cap, and it has a teeny tiny little skinny brush. So I used this afterwards to go ahead and comb through my lashes, and this did a really great job. It gets right up against the root and combed through any clumps that were there and just made my lashes look incredible. And then I also used this on my lower lashes as well. So this is a really great 2-in-1 mascara. I feel like I'm just praying it does not smudge underneath my eyes, but I'm going to Disney in a few weeks, and I think this would be a really cool thing to bring, just to have like that lower lash mascara and the upper all in one tube. So if this one doesn't smudge, I think I'll definitely be packing it in my bag. And then for lips, I grabbed this Stay Satin liquid lip color from Rimmel, and I had never seen these before. I just saw them pop up at Walmart. I don't know if they're new again or if I just never saw them before, but I really like this color, shoulder pads, and I just thought this was a beautiful pink, and love that it's more of a satin liquid lipstick versus a matte. I felt like it would maybe be a little bit more comfortable. So far I really love the way that this one went on. I think it gives really nice full coverage. It does feel like just a little bit sticky and tacky when I press my lips together, but it doesn't feel dry, so I'll take it. And hopefully it's long lasting on the lips, but we'll see as the day goes on. So that's the entire face. I'm gonna go ahead about my day, and I will update you guys in a little bit. Hey guys, so it's been about 4 hours. I just wanted to do a quick check-in. So far I'm really loving this foundation. I think it still looks amazing both on the primer side and then the non-primer side. It still looks the same, and it just looks really natural and skin-like even in natural lighting, which is amazing. So far so good with that. The eyeshadow is technically still holding up, but it is dropping glitter all over my cheeks, and to be honest, you know, I really didn't like the way that those shimmer shades applied, and they were just so chunky and so powdery that I'm just really not loving that palette. The Revlon blush is holding up really nicely still. I can still see that on my cheeks, and it looks really natural, really nice. The lipstick is holding up way better than I thought it would. It's actually really long lasting. I haven't eaten with it yet, but I have had a drink so far, and it didn't come off at all. The one complaint I have though is that it's incredibly sticky, and not like just when I press my lips together, but as I'm talking and my lips are opening and closing, I can feel them sticking together for kind of like a fraction of a second each time, and it's getting kind of annoying at this point. So I kind of don't think I would be reaching for this one that often, even though it doesn't look dry and it does seem to be really long lasting. I don't know if the stickiness would just bother me over the course of a day, but we'll see how it holds up through eating. I'm about to go have lunch, and then yeah, so I'll check back in with you guys in probably another 4 hours or so and see where we're at. Hey guys, it's about 5:30 p.m. so I'm back for my final check-in now that it's been about 8 hours or so. So first up, let's talk about this foundation because I think this is so awesome. I think it really looks great except for right around my nose area where it wore away, but I have to say it's probably not the fault of this so much because almost every foundation tends to wear off around my nose and then it starts looking pink, usually like midday. So what I usually do is apply concealer, and today I didn't do that. So concealer just is a little thicker and helps to grip a little bit better than foundations normally do. So in the future, I think I'll just apply a concealer on top of this like I would normally do, but I just wanted to test this on its own and see how it held up without concealer. So all my other trouble spots, like under my eyes, my chin, everything still looks really great where I applied this, and it just looks so natural and skin-like. I absolutely love it. And then as far as these primers go, I really don't notice a difference between the side where I applied the primer and then the side where I didn't. The foundation looks the same on both sides. So these really didn't extend the wear for me at all, unless they do kind of beyond the 8-hour mark, but that's normally how long I would wear my makeup anyway, so I don't really need it to last more than that. And the Pores Be Gone, I really was disappointed that it didn't make my pores disappear like I thought they were going to and like it claims to do. My pores still look pretty much the same as they always do, so that was kind of a bummer. And actually my pores are looking worse right now because there's so much glitter fallout from that eyeshadow that I applied to my lid. So I have to say I would probably pass on these Essence palettes. I really just did not have a good experience with them overall. I felt like it was really hard to work with, except for the transition shade, and I have to say that one still looks really good. But the shadow that I applied to my lid has faded so much, and the deeper shade from my outer corner that I had so much trouble with is pretty much gone. I can't even really see it. So I would definitely say skip this one and probably the other two palettes that are also part of this collection. It just isn't worth it to me, especially for, you know, $14.99. I feel like you can get so many other palettes from drugstore brands that are better than this one, so I just was not a fan of that at all. The Revlon Cheek Flushing Tint, I think, did a really, really great job. It actually is still showing up, even just that one light layer that I did. So definitely excited to try out the other color and use these some more, especially in the summertime, because I love just a quick gel blush that's easy for summer. The mascara from Pixie Beauty, I was really impressed with as well. I think it applied so nicely. I love having the option of the tiny little brush as well as the big one, and it did not smudge under my eyes. Even putting it on my lower lashes, it still looks flawless. So definitely packing this in my bag when we go on trips, and also just going to be using it on the regular, I would say, because I really love the way my lashes came out with this. And then last but not least, we have the Stay Satin lip color from Rimmel, which has pretty much faded now. It did stain my lips a little bit. They look a little bit deeper than they normally do. And I have to say, I have to give this one credit. It did wear away really evenly. It wasn't patchy like some matte liquid lipsticks can be. So I was impressed with this for that. I just hated how sticky it felt, like I mentioned in my earlier check-in. It just was really annoying throughout the day to feel that sticky feeling all the time. So I probably wouldn't reach for this that often, but I suppose if I was going out somewhere and I wanted my lipstick to really last, but I didn't want to go with like a really drying matte formula, this is kind of a good in-between. I would just probably have to deal with that stickiness issue a little bit, but I did really like the color, and like I said, it is long-lasting, so it did have some positives. Alright guys, so that does it for today's try-on. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and if you did, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, and also I would love to hear your comments down below. Have you tried any of these products yet, and what were your thoughts, or are you thinking about buying any of them? I'd love to chat with you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.